some years ago a book titled Away with the Manger tells of a fictional character named Jason Grimm, who was a columnist for the Hartville Daily News. He's not a believer, though after they got married, his wife became a believer. He describes his Christmas outlook this way: Santa has never been a militant figure for me. He's always been kind of cute and cuddly with the presents, round belly, and reindeer. But to some of the religious folks in town, he is the worst. Switch a couple of letters around in his name and you get Satan. That's how bad they think he is. Jackson Grimm describes an ongoing conflict between between Santa and the people of Hartville, the community church in town. To the dismay of these Christians, City Hall's dignity is marred by an ungainly appendage between Thanksgiving and Christmas each year. A red trailer is chained to a parking meter on the east side of City Hall. A sign hanging slightly askew says, Santa's Workshop. Children are brought into the dimly lit room, most of them wailing and kicking, and have their picture taken with Santa. This, of course, is an exercise for the parents, not for the children. And Santa does a brisk business in Hartville. Not far away, about 50 people huddled in front of the City Hall with signs that read, Jesus is the reason for the season. Put Christ back in Christmas. And Santa did not die for your sins. There are conflicting reports about how the fight began. Whatever it was, the next day, the headline on the front of the Daily News said, Police arrest 4 in skirmish with Santa. Christmas is supposed to bring peace on earth, goodwill to men, but just the opposite happened at City Hall last night. 4 protesters were arrested, then released after allegedly attacking Santa and his holiday workshop. 1 elf was also slightly injured. The book is a work of fiction, of course, but it reminds us how very easy it is in this season to get caught up in other issues and miss the real reason for the season. My goal over this Advent season, and especially this morning, is to help us make sure that the Christmas season doesn't get by without, in 1 or 2 meaningful ways, feeling like we've captured the essence of what Jesus coming to earth is all about and respond accordingly. That's not such a big goal. But at this season, for many of us, an even more precious commodity than money is time. Have you gotten close to Christmas and wished for one more day in the week? And knowing that if you got it, you'd need 1 or 2 more? The season has a way of taking off on us all of a sudden, almost as if Thanksgiving has become the starting line for the mad dash to Christmas. Every year we start off this season intending to do better, to keep things under control, to keep on top of things. But usually it doesn't quite happen as we intended. I don't know, for you, maybe the panic has already set in. How many days till Christmas? Please don't remind me. We have a neighbor with a big clock in their front yard counting down the days, hours, and minutes till Christmas. Drove past this morning, it said 27 days. Can't be. 27 days till Christmas. In light of the potential for panic and our need to slow down and remember why there's Christmas, we're going to focus this series on Mary. After the angel's visit, She must have realized that what was about to come had great potential for great good, but also potential for great harm. Her culture was not nearly as tolerant of unexpected, unplanned pregnancies as ours. What would Joseph say? He was a kind man, a good man. Would he believe her? And how long before she'd begin to show? And the tongues would start to wag. Elizabeth was also going to have a baby. I think the angel told Mary that bit of information, not only to encourage Mary that all things are possible with God, but also to give her a way to deal with what she was about to face. She'd go to Elizabeth. It was about 80 miles away. That's tough on foot. But it would give Mary a chance to work through what was happening to her. She could slow down and find a measure of peace in all the turmoil and chaos that was going on. As we saw in the dramatization today, Mary got ready, hurried to the hill country of Judea, and when she went in and greeted Elizabeth, what must it have been like? I felt when Lindsay was still in the womb, the first time she kicked, and it nearly sent me off the bed. That was a kick. What must it have been like for Elizabeth, an older woman, to feel this baby leap inside her? When she told Mary what had just happened, that must have been incredible confirmation for Mary. Now, Elizabeth didn't have all the answers. Neither of these women ever had a baby before. But Elizabeth had been around the block a time or two, and they could talk, just talk, and encourage each other that no matter how strange all this seemed, no matter how different from everything they had ever experienced in their lives this was about to become, they could be sure that the Lord was in this and meant it for good. As you're approaching this Advent season, I'd like you to take a few moments, even this morning, to think about last year and maybe the year before. Are there a couple of things you do not want to do again? What made you cry last Christmas and the year before, and not happy tears? Are there things that you can avoid this year? How do you cut back so that you're not too exhausted to actually enjoy this season with the people you love the most? Those are the kinds of questions I'd like you to be thinking about. I wonder what would have happened had Mary told the wrong person that she was bearing the Son of God. It would have been disastrous. What if she had felt sorry for herself? But instead, she did the wise thing. She went to see Elizabeth and spent time with her. Those people in the away with the manger story were not nearly as wise as Mary. They ended up in a huge town fight over whether there should be a nativity in the center of town. And it takes a near tragedy that I won't tell you about before Pastor Carlson realizes what has happened. This particular year, Christmas fell on Sunday, and so on that December 25th, Pastor Carlson preached to a packed church and said this: "We put our hearts and souls into getting that manger in the public square, and we fought to the very end. So what are we sorry for? Standing up for what's right? No, there's a time to take a stand and a way to take a stand, and I'm here to tell you today on this Christmas morning, our cause was right. But Jesus said, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. And that's where we were wrong. We did it wrong, and we're sorry. I wish those cameras were back here from New York. I would look right into their little red lights, and I would tell that whole panel of people and the whole country that we were wrong, and we're sorry. We wanted to be salt and light, my friends, but we poured salt into an open wound, and we took a blowtorch to this town. We are told to love others because He first loved us. And if we say we love God but hate others, we're fooling ourselves. How many of you have traditions that you do every year without fail? How many of you are starting fresh this year doing everything new? So most of us are somewhere in between there. There are traditions. A lot of them are wondrous, and we do them because it makes Christmas, Christmas. But some of them have become a burden. Give some thought to the traditions that you ought not to repeat. This week, I would like you to carve out some time. Nobody has the time. Don't wait until you have the time, because you won't. Carve out some time to think about what you would like to do differently this year than you have in the past. Something that will help you honor Jesus at His coming to earth. It may help to write that thing down. It may help to tell a trusted friend about that thing. And then if you can accomplish that this year, you will accomplish something major for this year and perhaps for eternity. Pray with me.